is a very special person. We actually linked up and organized that he would be here over 2 years ago on Facebook. And that's very significant, as you'll hear in a minute. Michael Angelo Caruso was actually introduced to Rotary via the Group Study Exchange program, and he now teaches presentation skills. He's a valued communication consultant to companies and organizations all over the world. He's also a Rotarian, and he speaks all over the world for Rotary. He's a district governor in the Rotary district of 6380, and that covers Southeast Michigan and Ontario, Canada. And his Rotary Club is the Rotary Club of Troy in Michigan. Please welcome Michelangelo Caruso.
Nice job. I was seated in the exit row. I like to sit in the exit row. I have 1 billion miles on Delta Airlines. I knew the flight was full, and I was playing the game that you play on airlines. I wonder who's sitting next to me today. A beautiful woman got on the plane. She started to walk down the aisle, and I thought, I wonder if it's her. Nope. Then an extra supersized gentleman got on the plane, and I wondered to myself, I wonder if it's him. Nope. And then I heard my seatmate before I saw him. I heard him because he was talking on the telephone. I don't know why it is, but we talk on the telephone a bit more loudly than we do in real life. Have you noticed? I used to be annoyed by this until I realized you can learn a lot of personal information about people just by paying attention. As he got to my aisle, he was encumbered. He had a roller bag. He had a bag that he was going to put under the seat, a bag up here, and he was talking on the phone, and he was saying goodbye to a child that did not want to say goodbye to Daddy. So his first words to me were actually more of a grunt. He said, like this. And I knew that he was sitting next to me. That's how I found out. And he puts the bag up above, and he's got the bag underneath, and I recognize the luggage tag on the bags. I think I know where this gentleman works. I recognize the name of the company. As he takes his seat next to me, he's now saying goodbye to a second child that does not want to say goodbye to Daddy. And as they get ready to close the boarding door, he's saying goodbye to a third child who is screaming into the phone so loudly I can hear the kid from my chair. Now, I don't have any children, but my heart went out to him, and I felt so bad that he actually had to hang up on his own son, who was crying into the phone, "Don't leave, Daddy." Made my heart melt. After they closed the boarding doors, my friend hung up his cell phone, and he sighed as if the weight of the world was leaving his shoulders. And I turned to him and I said, "Daddy's leaving home, huh?" He said, "Oh, you were listening." I said, "How could I not?" He said, "Yeah, my kids do not like it when I leave home." I said, "Well, how many children do you have?" He said, 3. I said, "What are their names?" He said, "We gave them S names, Sally, Scotty, and Sandy." Scotty's the oldest. He was the one that was yelling the loudest. And I said, "Wow, how old are they?" He said, 5, 6, and 8. I said, "Oh, my goodness." I said, "Tell me, you're traveling for work." He said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Do you work at that company that's on your luggage tag?" He said, "You're very observant." He said, "Yes, I do." I said, "What do you do for them?" He said, "I'm a sales manager." I said, "How often do you travel?" He says, "About 17 or 18 days a month with 3 small children." And I said, why do you travel so much? What do you do that you have to travel so much?" He says, "Well, I'm a sales manager at my company, and I have to make sure my people are working a full day." And I said, "Oh." And then he got a very strange expression on his face. The expression was something like this. An interesting expression, isn't it? He goes like this to me. He says, "I'm sorry." He said, "I didn't get your name." Like a pirate. "Arr, I didn't get your name, mate." And I held out my hand first because I know the person who holds out his hand first has influence in any interaction. I started to shake his hand, and I said, my name's Michael Angelo Caruso. Now, my name by itself is an elevator speech. He says, Michael Angelo Caruso. He says, that's a fantastic name. He says, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I teach sales managers how to get their people to work a full day. He says, do you have a card? The lady in front of us says, I want one too. The first impressions are important, aren't they? First impressions are everything, man. A lot of the things that we learn about people happen in the first 15 seconds of an interaction. And yet so often we squander that opportunity because we're not focused, or because we're not giving the other person our best, or because we have so many things in our mind, sometimes so many things to tell the other person, that we just start talking and we forget to listen, don't we? Sometimes we do that as Rotarians because Rotary is a fantastic organization. We have tentacles that just grow and grow in different ways, all the avenues of service, the areas of focus, all the different things that we do. And when people say, what's Rotary? We just start talking, don't we? We don't care so much about what the other person wants to hear. We just know what we want to tell them. It's fascinating, isn't it? And that's how we roll with first impressions sometimes. It's interesting. So I've learned that when you show interest in others, others will show interest in you. And I find it's useful to ask questions of the other person, and start asking questions before anything else gets going, because then you can learn about the other person, and then you can position whatever it is you're going to say next based on the answers that they give you. It's a fascinating way to work. Often on airplanes, I'll be seated next to someone who's reading a book. And of course, when you ask me what I do for a living, my easiest and shortest answer, 4 words, I teach presentation skills. That's what I do for a living. So I spend a lot of time with sales teams and leadership teams. And so when the lady on the plane says to me, what do you do for a living? And she's reading a book, I tell her, I'm an author. Which is true. I'm an author. I write books about the stuff I speak about. But I think she might be more interested in that because she's identified to me that she's a reader. And it works almost every time. In fact, I highly recommend this if you want to have some fun sometime. Do we have any authors in the audience? Anybody written a book? Yeah, a few, okay. Even if you haven't written a book, you might want to give this a go. It's kind of fun. When somebody says, what do you do for a living? Just say it casually, you know, like, well, I'm an author. And the person will answer in hushed tones. You are? You're an author. And then I start whispering, why, yes, I am. And they say, what have you written? Like this. And I'll say, well, I have a book series called 5 Cool Ideas, and I create a lot of video content because a lot of people like to learn through visuals. And they say, where can I buy your book? Where can I buy it? They don't even know anything about me, and they want to buy the book. It's fascinating. You should try it. And then you should write a book. So what we know about first impressions is that the impressions come in two sets of signals. They come in nonverbal cues, which is the things like the handshake and the smile. I want to show you another trick right now for first impressions. It's terrific. Most people, of course, are not smiling most of the time. Most people have what's called a neutral face or a resting expression. But the smile is as important as the smile is. There's another part of the face that works very well, and it's the eyebrows. I don't know if you know this, but if you want to show interest in something, one of the first things that we do, and we do it subconsciously, is we raise our eyebrows. So, where'd my face go? Watch my eyebrows. Watch. You see how big my face becomes when I raise my eyes. This goes way back to the caveman and cavewoman days when we saw something that was bigger than us. Whoa! You know, and when the eyes get big, it's a nice show of surprise, and it can be a pleasant surprise, especially if you're smiling, right? And then there's this thing called smiling eyes. Watch, I won't smile with my mouth, but I'll smile with my eyes. You see? It's very pleasant. And so I teach speakers if you want to seem human. when you're on stage. Just raise your eyebrows once in a while, right? It's a cool thing. And other parts of my body start to fall into play when I raise my eyebrows. Watch my left hand. And my head tilts back like this. I can't stop myself. It's a beautiful thing. And then what happens is you seem more lifelike. Rotarians. Because we're trying to seem lifelike. We're trying to seem like a lifelike organization. There's a big slogan that's floating across the states. Rotarians take action. Sounds great, doesn't it? Rotarians take action. Love it. And then we take pictures of ourselves in meetings listening to speakers. And then we post those pictures so everyone can see how much we sit around. And I tell people, don't take pictures of yourself sitting. Take pictures of laughing and raising your eyebrows and looking like you're having fun. That's really the best way to go. My good friend Peter Croan's been snapping all weekend. He's the hardest working person, I think, at the conference. A round of applause for Peter. And Peter is a good photographer because he just doesn't take pictures to say, I took 1,000 pictures for you this weekend. He waits for the moment when it looks like you're lifelike, because that's the image that he wants Rotary to have. It's pretty good. And so it's not only nonverbal cues, but also it's verbal cues. So I'm going to give you the 15 most powerful words you can ever use with another person. You might want to write them down. You'll never remember them. But if you don't have anything to write with, there's a good YouTube video. Just do my name, Angelo Caruso, 15 words, and it'll come up on YouTube for you. But the 15 words go like this. The 5 most powerful, the 4, the 3, they add up to 15. The 5 most powerful words you can ever use with another person are, I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. And even Eve Conway, who's running the show here, likes to hear this. District governors like to hear this. Presidents of clubs like to hear it, right? We tend to say it to the Rotaractors and to the Interact and to the young people. But older people like to hear, I'm proud of you too. And of course, if 1,500 of us on the way out say to Eve, Eve, I'm proud of you, great conference, she'll just wink at you and say, I was in the program with you. I heard Michael say that. But she'll say thank you very much, because it means something when you say I'm proud of you. The 4 most powerful words are, what is your opinion, or what do you think? And I feel so strongly about this question, I even ask it when I don't care what you think. Sometimes I'll ask you what you think and then I'll write it down as if I've never heard it before. You see, what's important is that I ask you. What's important is that you ask people what they think. Sometimes you'll get an original opinion, but most of the time it'll be something that's already been, discussed and talked about. It's okay. If you don't ask people what they think you don't care. And it's interesting in our organization that it's so desperately trying to grow. When it comes time for us to decide how we want, we're asking people what they think, we tend to only ask people who are already in the organization. And who should we be asking? Prospective members. We should be asking them, do you like it when we do this? Did this make you uncomfortable at all? Did you favor this? And yet, when we take these polls, we ask the people who are already in the organization. It's interesting. I think it's interesting. My new favorite question to ask people, by the way, is what do you do for a living? Because I figure if I can get you to tell me what you do for a living, it's something that you do 2,000 hours a year, you're probably pretty good at it. In fact, Malcolm Gladwell, an author, tells us that if you do something for 5 years, you're probably an expert at it. That's 10,000 hours. And if you do something and you're an expert at it, I want to know what it is. I especially want to know it as a sitting district governor, because I'm in charge of talent acquisition. And it is so hard for us to talk about this stuff. I don't know why it is. I suppose it's part of our heritage. In the States, we used to fine Rotarians, if they were caught talking about their business during a Rotary meeting. Some of you may remember those days. If your company was mentioned in the newspaper, you would be paying a fine at the next meeting. Isn't that something? And I don't know, I think it would be better if we had our avocation dovetail more with our vocation. If service could dovetail more with what we do for a living, I think that would be good. Of course, we don't want to do a lot of business during Rotary. That's not really the purpose of Rotary. But I don't see why they have to be or how they have to be what we would call mutually exclusive. I think sometimes we spend so much time and energy being good Rotarians that we forget to be human. A number of us in the room missed lunch yesterday. Raise your hand if you missed a meal yesterday because you were attending Rotary. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. You're good Rotarians, and I'm sorry you went hungry. But we were so busy with Rotary, we forgot to eat. And you have to take care of yourselves, right? I'm so glad that the lady that fell, the young lady that fell during the choir is okay. Probably just didn't eat breakfast. Is that what happened, Nick? Maybe a little lightheaded because she didn't eat breakfast this morning, you know? I loved, by the way, the choir director. He was so cool about it. Very smooth guy, this choir director. In fact, right after the lady dropped, he said, "I'm glad she's okay. By the way, we're taking applications." We should do that, man, at Rotary. You know, Thomas hasn't been looking well. We should probably put an ad out. The three most powerful words are "will you please." The two most powerful words are what? Thank you. And the number one most powerful word you can ever use with another person is their name. That's exactly right. When you use a person's name, they listen to you and they focus on you as if you are the only person in their universe. It's a beautiful, beautiful people skill to be able to remember names and recall them and call people by their favorite word. It's a lovely thing. Let's talk a little bit more about body language. You know, when we feel good about ourselves, we're able to give our best to others. And that's why it's always good to be organized and on time and sorted out, as you say here in Great Britain. And I love that phrase, get yourself sorted out now. And when you're sorted out, people sense it, and they sense, well, he's a good person. But if you're frenetic and hectic all the time, people subconsciously, they stay away from you a little bit. You know, it's not quite as attractive to them. And so we want to make sure that we have our lives in order so that we recruit like-minded people, other people who have their lives in order to our great organization. Sometimes we're in such a hurry to recruit people to Rotary that we don't even ask them if they're okay with paying the dues to Rotary. Have you experienced this? We get them into the club, it seems like a perfect fit, and then a few months later they say, we didn't know the dues were so much. We didn't know we had to pay so much money to belong to this organization. Well, we want people who can afford to give to for philanthropic causes. That's one of the things that we do in Rotary, right? We raise money. So we want people who are a good fit. We also know that we talked about smiling earlier. The idea of being able to smile as you walk into a room is just a beautiful thing. To be able to walk into the room as if you own the place, you know? And I know that's maybe of an American thing. This kind of we used to call it gentle assertiveness, but not anymore. America's getting more aggressive, and I can't apologize enough for that, ladies and gentlemen. But when you walk into the room with a little smile on your face, not just a little smile, crinkling of the eyes, upturned, you know, just like you belong here, you know. I feel so comfortable here right now. And I'm often asked when I walk into stores and hotels and different retail establishments, people often ask me for directions because it seems like I'm so comfortable I must be working there, right? And they'll say to me, "Excuse me, do you know where the aspirin is?" And then I take them to the aspirin because I'm a good person. So these kinds of things that we do are really good for developing relations and, of course, in the first 15 seconds. We also want you to start walking with purpose, right? We want you to start walking a little bit faster than you normally do, a little bit faster than most people do, because when you walk with purpose, it sends a signal that you're here to do something, right? There are two types of people in life, ladies and gentlemen, those that amble and those that walk with purpose. Which one would you like to be? Now, I know that some of us can't walk as fast as we used to, and that's okay. But do the best that you can, right? Because when it seems like you have purpose, people will find you highly desirable to be around. You'll find yourself being asked to do more things, and more opportunities will come your way. And all of this, of course, is good for you, and it's good for Rotary. We want our Rotarians to be engaged. We also know that when you sit in the front of the room, you're in a power seat. More good things happen in the front of the room. I can tell you I've attended thousands of these conventions. In fact, I speak at hundreds of these conventions. As a professional speaker, you should know I never charge Rotary for talks, and Rotary found out. And when I sit in the audience, as I have this weekend and enjoyed the great entertainment, the great speakers, I get so much more out of the event when I'm in the front row or near the front. You know, sometimes they have reserved seating for speakers. But when I sit in the back, I don't feel like I'm part of the program. In fact, I remember one time going to a Paul McCartney concert. You know who Paul McCartney is. They were playing David Bowie in the hotel the other day, and I thought to myself, how great, they're playing American music. Sorry, Sir Paul McCartney. But I was young, I didn't have much money, I was in the cheap seats, way up in the top, and I remember the experience as if that Paul McCartney was in a cover band playing Beatles songs. That's how far away I was. And I just kept thinking to myself, I wish I could sit closer where the action is, because the action is up close. So you want to sit in the power seat. And finally, you want to have this thing called the good elevator speech. It's that first 15 seconds. Sometimes it's only 10 words when someone says to you, where are you from? You know, a lot of people get into a mix-up on this. You know, they say, where are you from? And somebody says this to me all the time on the road, and I say, I'm from Michigan. And I don't know how much you know about Michigan, but it's in the northern latitudes of the United States, of North America. And people in North America, as soon as I say I'm from Michigan, they say, it's cold there, isn't it? And then I say, sure is. And they say, why would anybody want to live there? And I say, beats me. And you see what happens to the whole conversation, right? I mean, why are you taking this picture? My good friend, Peter Croan, everybody. Now he's taking a movie. And so I learned how to get out of this, you know, because I can manage the first 15 seconds. So can you. You can take it wherever you want to take it. And now when people say to me, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Michigan. And they say, it's cold there, isn't it? And I say, actually, we have 4 unique and distinct seasons. It's a wonderful place to live. And what do you think the other guy says? Nothing. He's got nothing for me because I shaped the conversation in the way that's positive, right? And that's what we need to do when we talk about Rotary. We shape it into something positive. Yes, absolutely. We're all capable of doing this. Bravo. So, is my friend, now I met a lot of cool people here, but I met Alicia Reed today. Alicia, are you here? There you are. Come on up. Give Alicia a round of applause. We're going to give her some spotlight. Come on up, Alicia. And we talk all the time about how we want younger people to come into Rotary. We talk a good game about this, but you know, we've had a few years to get this sorted out, and apparently we're having a little trouble, and I'm not sure why, because we have great people like this. Alicia Reed, how are you? Nice to see you. Would you please tell us, what club are you in, Alicia?
One that has 4 seasons a year,
Yeah.
which is...
Okay. I want you to use this stuff, but not on me. What club?
Rotary Club of Doncaster.
Okay, very good. And you have a titled role in the club? Are you a president? Are you an officer?
They made me chair of IT as soon as I walked in the door.
Chair of IT. Your club has a chair of IT, meaning information technology.
Now it does.
Now it does, okay. Before she joined, it was just it. Now it's IT. And so you see, she's a double threat, right? She's a younger person. I won't ask your age, but you seem a little younger than some of the people here. And she's in IT. And do you have a leadership arc in Rotary? Do you have interest in doing more?
I think I've got a bigger job than what I can do on my own. So
Okay.
I'm looking for people to help me.
Okay, very good. And but you know, Rotary could use more IT. We could use some more technology to further our goal. We have a lot. Jennifer talked earlier about how it's hard for us to get the word out about the things that we need to do sometimes, and technology is very helpful with that, yeah?
It is. Actually, I was going to run around finding Jennifer at the end.
Okay, well, she's right there. So I was just so glad to meet you because we need more young people, and I think I've really enjoyed the speakers at this convention, haven't you? Speakers have all been fantastic. And I think it would be great when we're putting together speaker lineups, and I did this for my district conference coming right up, that we not only wanted to have all the senior Rotarians be paid homage to on stage, but we wanted younger people on stage. We wanted to give them the microphone. And in fact, we have a large Rotaract, large for us, Rotaract contingency coming to district conference. We're making them part of the show. We're giving them a panel session. We're having some of them speak. And I heartily recommend that you have this nice lady, Alicia Reed, speak at your next event. She'll tell you about IT. Thank you very much, Alicia.
Thank you.
Pleasure. So this idea of meeting people and then making the most of the first 15 seconds, you know, the perfect handshake involves this fleshy area between the thumb and the forefinger. This is called the web. And the idea that you would have web-to-web contact with the other person, that's a firm and assertive handshake, you know. And it's interesting, not everybody has the perfect handshake. Would you agree? Yeah, in fact, there are 3 types of handshakes. There's the perfect handshake. That's the firm, assertive handshake, web to web. There's another handshake, it's called the dead fish handshake. That's the one where you just get a couple of fingers to work with, you know. And there's a third handshake, and that one's called the bone crusher. And each time you get a handshake, that person's sending you a signal about their personality and who they are and what they'll mean to you later on. And by the way, you're sending signals to other people about who you are. It's interesting. So by being more mindful of these types of things, I think we sharpen our game and we take our game to another level. I'm going to show you something else. You all have smartphones and telephones. Would you get them out right now, please? I assume you have smartphones by now. And you know, your phone now is like a computer. And thank you, Robert. And a phone's like a computer. And you know what we say back home, and I think Alicia still says this in IT, is that the average person only uses about 17% of their computer capacity at home. And if all things are equal, we only use about 17% of the technology that's available to us in the phone. It's amazing. Some of you are ahead of me. You're already taking photographs. That's exactly where I'm taking you. This has been an amazing event. Now, Eve, how many Rotarians are there in RIBI?
There's 47,500, roughly.
So this is interesting, isn't it? 47,000 Rotarians in RIBI, and attendance here, as I understand it, is around 1,500. Is that?
It's more than that. It's around over 1,600.
All right, about 1,600. So we're missing a lot of people. Now, 1,600 people got a really good dose of Rotary this weekend, but everybody else is wondering, what happened? Some of them don't know what happened and don't care much about it because they don't know the quality of the entertainment that we saw. It's our jobs now, we are emissaries, is to take a few pictures and spread the word. And of course, I want you to take pictures of the beautiful stage. If you happen to take pictures of the other people that were on stage, maybe the choir this morning, fantastic, right? And I'll be available for pictures after. I know Jennifer likes to take pictures. Peter is here to take pictures as well. We have all kinds of Rotary big shots in the room, and always smiles, right? Always eyebrows up. We're having a great time. And you just keep if you're taking pictures of ugly people, you just keep taking the picture until they turn beautiful. I tell you, people back home, I say, if you want younger people in your club, take pictures of young people and promote. Marketing is kind of like a mirage, right? We're creating a mirage of something that hasn't really happened yet. Our club is becoming younger. So we're taking pictures of young people so more young people seem interested in the club. You understand? It's okay. It's not deception. It's just marketing. And I tell people, if you don't have any beautiful people in your club, just take pictures of the visitors. So we're going to have some fun. Let's do this. Let's use this camera, and I'll show you a quick thing that I love to do with video. So we'll have to frame this up, and I assume you all tell me if I'm not okay. That's about right, yeah? So we're going to do a quick promo for RIBI. Watch how quickly it can be done. And now I've had a little experience at this, so I can do it fairly quickly. You might have to do a couple, 3 takes. Sometimes I have to do a couple, 3 takes. But anytime you have a camera like this, anytime, and your phone, your iPhone, your Android is capable of doing this, right? And you want somebody who's good at conveying the message, but watch how easy it is. Here we go. Well, then we're going to edit this later, splice it up, and it's ready to go. But here's how it works. Hello, my name is Angelo Caruso. I'm visiting the United Kingdom from the United States of America. I'm sitting governor for District 6380, and I'm proud to be a service member in the greatest service organization in the history of the world. I want you to know that every year, Rotary International has an organization called RIBI, and they host an annual event. It is an unbelievable event. You want to attend every year. It's in a different location. They will tell you about it. But if you are a Rotarian and you like good entertainment, you like good speakers, you want to attend this event, click the link down below to find out how you can register for the next RIBI convention. Go Rotary! I'm using a technique called direct to camera. I'm smiling when the camera comes on, and I smile until the camera goes off. And that way, whatever still frame that the YouTube editor chooses, it's me looking pleased to be there, happy to be there. So there's just a few tricks for this, and Alicia can tell you more about it, but this is basically how it works. Listen, I'd like to do something, but we've got a lot going on right now. We're going to set up a couple of depots in the back where you can bring down a business card if you care to keep in touch. And I'm going to give away I'm going to do a little drawing here for a giveaway for a set of my books. And you just take it with you, and I'll sign it for you at the end of the program. But we'll have a little depot down here, a couple of buckets where we can collect business cards. And I'll send you more tips on how you can market your Rotary Club. Deal? Okay, you can take yourself off the list anytime. It's totally fine. This is what we're giving away, and we're going to wrap up here in just a second. This is what we're giving away, 4 pieces. There is a couple of books in here. There's a DVD called Present Like a Pro. Right here. It's a master class in speaking if you're interested in that. And there's a 1-hour CD on how to be more persuasive, because I do think that we need to sell Rotary. I think there are too many options for people these days. And I've heard this great British phrase a few times, we don't want to keep our light under a bushel. Isn't that true? And so by promoting Rotary and being a bit more persuasive about it, I think things will go our direction. Again, I'm just so pleased to be a member of Rotary. Eve, we can give this away in one of the future segments, yeah? We'll get that sorted out for you in just a minute. My name is Angelo Caruso, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my presentation with you. And Renee and I will be staying after to take some pictures or talk about whatever you'd like. Some people have asked when we're coming back again. We have had some soft offers to visit, not only to speak at Rotary, but to help you with some of your businesses if you care to. And we're available to talk with you about that right after the program. Rotary is the greatest service organization in the history of the world. It's my pleasure to be here today. I will be a Rotarian the rest of my life, and I hope you will too. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike. Wonderful. Isn't he wonderful?
Thank you.
And I'm looking at the bear's face. Oh.
His eyebrows are up. Look.
But this is especially for you. I know you have a bear already. Take this bear home with you. Make it work.
Thank you.
It's a gift, but it has to work for its living. And it does have, well, yes, it has eyebrows like yours.
Thanks, everybody.
And a nose as well. But, but thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
There we go.